episode 11 of Anime and Us. I'm TJ.
And I'm Shawn.
And this is the review show that reviews anime from A to Z, sort of.
So last episode, we spun the category wheel for I, and we got, let's see if we can pronounce this. I'll try, then you try.
Okay.
Intrigue in the Bakumatsu, Irohanihoheto.
That sounds right to me. I don't know why you want me to try.
Please.
Irohanihoheto.
No, the whole thing.
Intrigue into the Bakumatsu, Irohanihoheto.
Yeah, that was good.
Oh, I just copied.
We tried it a couple times, though.
Yeah, and I copied exactly what you said, so it was easy for you.
We were just talking off mic about how I really wish there was just a translated name for the title, or at least if the translation wouldn't have made any sense, they could have just made a different name for it. I know that the purists really would have hated that, but that's... Come on. How are you going to spread it word of mouth saying that name? Oh, have you seen Intrigue in the Bakumatsu, Irohanihoheto? Have you seen that? Did you see the new episode that aired? That's retarded.
It's a better name than Samurai do Samurai things, though.
That was my proposed name.
So, yeah. Anyway, that's... Just to go off on a little rant, it's letter in that category.
Oh, yeah. Back to that. Anyway... it's a Japanese series created by Ryosuke Takahashi. I probably fucked up Ryosuke. I don't think that's what it was. When it was made by him and Sunrise, it broadcast between October 6, 2006 and April 6, 2007. Apparently on Japanese internet streaming channel. It wasn't even on regular TV.
Yeah, I couldn't find much about this one, honestly.
I'm surprised it got dubbed. Usually only really popular things get dubbed. Well, nowadays, a little... 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, things did get dubbed that really didn't merit it. I'm not saying this didn't merit it, but it wasn't popular. It wasn't on cable television. It didn't quite make sense for it to be dubbed.
It's not there. I didn't even see. There's not a manga or anything for it.
Yes, yeah. Not that I can see.
This is just created, so it's an odd one.
It was definitely an odd one.
Well, it's an odd one in that respect too.
That last episode, my favorite episode was the last episode. It was good.
Yeah.
Oh, the other ones were mediocre at best.
I don't think the whole show was mediocre like you do. I mean, it's an average anime, that's for sure. It was
boring in the beginning, like really boring, and then it increasingly got better. It held my interest the longer it went on.
Yeah, I thought the writing was solid. The way they did things. But the funny thing is about this one, it's written in 4 acts for some reason. Mm-hmm. So the first act is pretty much an introduction. That's why it was so slow.
Yeah, God. Like dead slow.
Yeah,
it was literally hard to watch it.
Well, I guess explain the premise.
So what's his name?
I got the names. Akazuki Yujiro,
who's the Eternal Assassin. Why they call him that? Because he's really just trying to kill the head.
See, here's the thing about this anime. It's like a take on the, I guess, of
the Shogun era.
The Shogun era.
The end of it, I should say.
And the wars that went into it.
And sort of created Japan.
And they kind of create this anime like almost like a history lesson in some respects of it.
Which was kind of interesting here and there, but the bulk of that part of it was a bit boring.
It was a bit boring, and I was confused for a lot of it because I don't know what a lot of the stuff is.
Neither do I, to be honest. I only know some of it.
So it was a little confusing, but it was interesting in a lot of respects. But the Eternal Assassin's plotline is pure anime. It's all magic and stuff like that. So,
towards the beginning, there's a swordsman that he has to fight. I forget his name, but he can control Earth with his swords movements. Remember that? He can sort of put his sword in the ground and then fling it, and then like the earth cracks.
Oh, the first guy did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now that I loved, and I loved that you also find out about the main character, Hiro, whatever his name is, Akazuki. He can sort of control water.
Just call it Eternal Assassin.
Yeah, Eternal Assassin. He can sort of control water with his blade,
right? Which
was super cool. Like instantly, you got my attention with that. But then they almost never really played on that. He never really had foes that had powers either. And you didn't really see him control water anymore. It was really why introduce that if you're not going to go with it?
It was like they started off trying to create an anime and they decided we're going to tell a history story.
Yeah.
It was very strange. I mean, in the first the story is based around the troupe essentially. There's a troupe of
that was interesting.
People.
They do plays and stuff.
They do plays that are based on like real things that have happened that were like crimes that were committed, people who were falsely accused, and they reveal who really did it in the plays.
And obviously they get widely popular because of that. Because they're always sold out.
And then the first whole act is them getting revenge on the guy that killed the girls, the leader. And what's his name? I don't know his name. The guy that was burned all over his body, so you can only see his eye. I have his name.
Well, those plays were about them getting back at the people that killed their family, pretty much.
Abisono Zucchino.
And the guy with the earth sword techniques that we were just talking about was one of the people that was a part of that.
He was the leader of it. I didn't rate it. There was about 1,000 names in this. Yeah. There's 1,000 characters in this show.
Yeah, so forgive us on that. I mean, I know it's pretty rough on all the animes with us and names, but this one was really...
Yeah, I mean, every act, it was like a different story.
What I found really odd is that towards the beginning, it makes sense that they called her the leader, who is sort of the love interest. Well, not sort of is, but not really until the end, though.
Yeah, we'll get to that, too.
But my point is that they kept calling her leader, even after she left the play.
Right.
And they kept calling...
because she was the leader, not in the sense that she was...
It was just odd, use her name.
Oh, I think that was for our benefit.
I
As an American.
1,000 other names, but this one we're going to change the leader. Well, no,
if you notice, a lot of the names were just one word. They don't use a lot of full names here. So, but yeah, the first act is them, the troop getting their revenge on the person who had killed the leaders.
The physical person, not the people behind it.
Yeah.
That throughout the other acts, that happens too. They go after the people that sort of ordered him to do it. In the last couple episodes, they went after the one guy.
Yeah, but the first act is them. They got the physical guy, the guy that actually burned down.
Yeah.
But the first act I consider is when they first get him at the end, and
sure.
The guy behind everything, and they kill him
with the cannons.
No.
Yeah, because that's the guy that's behind everything.
Yeah,
right?
But he gets killed before that.
Oh, yeah, I was in and out a little bit.
Yeah, there was a part where they find him. And at the house, it's where,
how do they kill him?
The Eternal Assassin is fighting the guy with the eye patch and the gun for the first time.
Oh, he's cool, and then he's a bitch. And then he's cool, and then he's a bitch again. There's an English eye patch guy who just uses guns instead of swords. This is a samurai era in Japan. And he's a spy for the Queen of England. And he starts off as an ally, then he turns into an antagonist, then he turns... Sort of back to an... Yeah, he goes back and forth quite a bit.
Yeah, and then...
So does the leader, actually. Anyway, first act. Second act.
The second act is pretty much the same as the first act. They're doing plays and stuff, and they realize they didn't actually kill the guy they wanted to kill. Mm-hmm. And that's at the end where they reveal the play, is where they finally get the cannons and stuff, and they end up killing him at the end. And the one guy that got burned,
the leader's brother
guy, got killed as well. So,
which was I like that, not because I want him to die, but because there's real consequences.
Yeah, it was not.
Most animes don't give you real consequences.
To be truthful, it was really strange.
Oh yeah, it was definitely odd. And
just the whole troop aspect of it, and then in between, there's the whole war things going on, and they're telling us there's in the first two acts, there's two characters, the horse guys on horses that the playwright of the troop steals from in the very beginning, and we follow them somewhat throughout, and then it goes into a biography at the end. Is one of them got killed, and the other one was never seen from again.
I wonder how much of this actually. Obviously, most of it didn't actually happen. There's magic and stuff, but I wonder if they're actually pulling real names and events and then twisting it a little bit to fit the animes.
That's what
I feel that's what's happening. I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's what it feels like, because it does feel like a historical.
Yeah.
Documentary. Whatever.
Like a mockumentary, but for history.
Yes. Almost. So.
Well, anyway, before we go any further with the acts, if we didn't mention already, the Eternal Assassin's entire point in being is he's trying to destroy the head. This head is this weird magical power thing that shows up throughout history.
It's the head of the conqueror.
There you go.
He was executed by a king 3,000 years ago.
And it keeps showing up throughout history, changing countries
and the guy that the
influencing people.
Troop wants to kill has the head, and before they finally kill him off at the end, he's trying to get the head to overtake one of the
to the north.
No. To overtake one of the two leaders.
Oh, yeah.
And then the troop stops it, but then the head possesses one of the Japanese generals, naval generals.
I don't think he was Japanese. I think he was. I don't think he wasn't British, and he definitely wasn't, because there was a couple Scottish guys in there.
Yeah, maybe.
But he definitely didn't look Japanese.
He didn't look Japanese, but then again,
they didn't have cannons on. You know what I mean? Like they were the swordsmen's, and the Americans and the British. We were selling them guns and stuff. There's no way that was Japanese.
But his whole crew was Japanese.
That's true. Could have been Chinese.
I suppose. I don't know. He looked like a white guy. So
he did. That's what I'm saying. Like, he looked like a white guy. Like, it didn't look like...
But even the Japanese people are drawn like white people. So.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so he sort of takes control, but he's got a couple ships. Big... So, what I thought was odd is that they look like sailboats with cannons.
Right.
But they're saying, turn the engines up to full power! And we're like, but where are the engines?
Yeah, the technology was confusing in this, too.
That was a little
Especially
odd.
Towards the end with the magic stuff. It gets really strange.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely odd.
So,
but yeah, then it goes towards the north, and pretty much the Eternal Assassin's just tracking it down the entire time, trying to destroy it.
The third act did, because the Eternal Assassin joins the troop as their bodyguard, because I forget why. Did he get saved by them or something? He was helped, but he has a connection with the group, and then the group's leader is the girl who's the main love interest and stuff. But after they kill the main guy, the girl ends up following him. And those two go off to the north.
That's when stuff started actually getting interesting.
He's going after the head of the Conqueror, who's going north.
And she's clearly in love with him. She's saying, oh, I want to accompany you on your journey and help you. I'm like, no, you want that dick.
So it was, and I thought this was very cliched. And then
yes.
But then she finds the sword.
Yes. Very similar to his sword.
It's very similar to his sword. And it's like, oh, so they're going to be a team and stuff like that. And then the third act ends with her stabbing him, and
that was a bit of a twist,
and falling off the ship, and she's being controlled by the head of the Conqueror, which I thought was that was interesting. I didn't see that coming. And neither did I. And then they don't even really contact for the
until right at the end. I think the last episode maybe.
In the last act, she essentially becomes the antagonist.
Yep.
And the play right from the troop, right from the beginning, seems like a good guy, but he's the real antagonist of the entire
he's
show.
Actually the big bad.
So yeah, he starts off as like the good guy and ends up the bad guy at the end, which I thought it's very solid writing in this, honestly.
When they talk.
Yeah.
There's a lot of taking in the scenery, which isn't necessarily bad, but we're not talking about a movie, we're talking about an anime.
Right. You hated the music.
The music was really annoying. This Japanese flute played every episode at least 4 or 5 times. I don't know how you don't remember.
I didn't know that.
I almost want to open up an episode and play it real quick for you. My favorite part about the last episode is when the Eternal Assassin goes to fight the leader, and the music changes. Thank God! Finally, a new song.
Well, there was
and then the fight's over, and right back to the old music. I was pissed.
There was a couple points in it out of nowhere. There's like a music video happening too. So
yeah,
it was very strange. It's a very, very strange anime. But I mean, at the end,
it almost feels like an indie movie for movies. But this would be like the indie movie for an anime.
Yeah,
a couple people got together, and they're clearly skillful. The art's nice, the writing's decent. The music that is there, although it is well done, it's way overplayed for me.
Honestly,
but it's just odd. It doesn't really fit together.
This is the kind of anime I was expecting to do more often when I started this. Not fantastic super ones and not all crap, but sometimes you find hidden gems in there and certain things.
Oh, we were talking about his water powers and how they never really showed up. Well, almost every time he would fight, his eyes would sort of turn blue, and his sword would start to sweat. Yeah, like water would start to drip off of it, and I'm like, yes, he's going to use his water powers again, and then it doesn't happen. That was a bit of a letdown.
I was really impressed by the writing of it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so. The leader turning on him, that was definitely. It's hard to surprise me, and they did it.
And then in the last act, they introduced this new character. The guy who ends up joining the head of the Conqueror, who ends up being the good guy, but who was on their side.
Yeah, it looks like an American, the American samurai guy.
Yeah. He ends up joining the bad side, but he thinks he's on the good side, and in the end, he actually turns out sacrifices himself and stuff, which it was all pretty well done.
Mm-hmm. Oh, back to the guy with the eye patch and the 2 guns. Real quick. First off, you got 1 eye. Good luck using 1 gun, let alone 2.
Before you get to that, let me just say there is like 4 or 5 different stories going on.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
To really cover this, you would have to almost take on each character individually
and watch it just for that character, and then go back and watch it for another character, and really pay attention to those characters.
Just from a review standpoint, if you even wanted to review it, you would have to really take it down. This is just an overall generalization of it, but if you really want to take this in, you really need an in-depth kind of
for
thing.
sure. There's a thing going on.
So much going on.
Anyway, back to the eye patch dude. 1 eye, and it's not just like he's putting an eye patch on. His eye doesn't work anymore, so the eye patch is there for needed, because he can only see out of 1 eye. He's got 2 revolvers. Mm-hmm. Good luck shooting at with 1 gun with 1 good eye, and he's using 2? 1, that doesn't make any fucking sense. 2, but then I did like the part where when he's fighting the Eternal Assassin at the end, and I think he drops his gun, or the Eternal Assassin disarms him. I can't quite remember, but he's got the gun in his right hand, and that's his right eye is the eye patch. So you actually physically see them keep the gun in his right hand, but move it over to the left eye so he can aim better. That's actually how that works. I was surprised that they knew to do that. So, for instance, when I go shooting, I'm left eye dominant. So if I'm shooting a rifle with my right hand, I have to move my left eye to the scope. Like that's pretty much what they did with him. And I was just impressed at the detail there.
I mean, let's take him for example. He starts off as a bodyguard for one of the main Japanese war guys. Mm-hmm. And he actually helps the troop who was getting attacked at one point. And then he gets... And that's the first act. The second act, he gets switched over to the other side. He's tasked to guarding the bad guys because he's working for the English, and the English are switching sides. So now he's the antagonist, and he fights the Eternal Assassin. And then in the third act, he ends up with a group of...
The Redcoats, right?
Yeah.
They were British. They were for the Queen.
Yeah, they were British, but they're more of an assassins
Yeah,
kind of
that was odd. They weren't really, militarized.
So now he's tasked of killing the guy that he was originally protecting, which is the head of the Conqueror, because he got...
But they suck at it.
But
all 4 of them, 5 of them, I should say.
And he has a brief relationship with this... One girl.
Yeah, and he ends up killing her.
And because of his mommy issues...
Oh my god!
And then he runs into the leader, who's pretty much indoctrinated by the head of this Conqueror at the time.
Yeah,
and he ends up worshiping her, and in the end, the Eternal Assassin gets wounded by him, and he kills him.
Well, they fall into the water together.
Right. So
you assume the Eternal Assassin lives in the what's his name dies.
Right, but that's one story arc.
Yeah.
Each one of them has one of those. Yeah. So it was like.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot to take in. You could watch it over and over again for each character. I don't recommend it because it's not that good. No. But it's worth a watch.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely worth a watch. So before we finish here, let's go into the magic at the end.
Oh, yeah, so the head, it does all kinds of crazy shit, creates this fortress. And it starts to fly.
And it turns into this giant steel thing with cannons that move or telepathically, and the playwright has these 4 witches at the bottom stirring bells.
Some weird shit.
It just went...
They didn't really explain any of that, which is bad writing. That's bad.
It just went insane at the end.
Yeah.
So it was just... which was very jarring, because the rest of it was really steep.
Yeah.
Really steep in reality. It was just...
As much as you can be with the little bit of magic they were doing.
Right.
But it was.
I mean... Even the magic stuff wasn't really magic. It was just one ghost possession things, and he was there to kill it. Mm-hmm. And he has some kind of a magic sword. So, all right,
that's it. I'm gonna give it a 5. Worth a watch, but
I can't give it a 5 because I gave what was it? What was it called? Hold on, give me a minute here.
Here's 2 minutes of silence.
No. The G one, Gossick.
Gossick?
Gossick. I gave that a 5. So I thought this was better than that.
So you thought that was better than that?
I thought
this, I don't.
No, I think this
Gossick really pissed me off.
I think this is better than Gossick.
Oh, you do? Good.
So I gotta give this higher. I gotta give this a 7, honestly.
All right.
Because Gossick was completely average. This was a little bit above average for me.
All right, that's decent. All right, so let's spin the wheel for H. see what we're doing next episode.
Before you do, though,
good. What's up?
We do have a few...
I think we talked about that last time.
I know, but I'm just mentioning...
Mentioning again, go ahead.
There's a couple options.
This one, for H, is like seven different animes. There's almost nothing for H.
And just for future episodes, when we get the Q... There's only one Q. So
there's only one Q?
So we're not going to be spinning the wheel for that one.
We're just going to do it?
We're just going to do it.
Fuck you. I don't even know what it is.
It's called Queen's Blade. I looked at it.
Oh, God.
So...
Alright, so there's a couple things, since there's so little, and we've gotten some pretty terrible animes.
I've added some.
We added a couple. So one would be my pick, Shawn's pick, and I can pick anything.
From within the letter.
There you go.
And then there's...
And then he has his pick.
And then there's 3 other ones that only I know about.
And I don't know what those are, so if we land on it, it's a surprise for me, just like you guys.
Alright, here we go.
Alright, here we go. At least it's spinning this time. Oh no. Jubei-chan, the Ninja Girl, Secret of the Lovely Eye Patch. That's just fantastic. That was one of the ones I didn't want to get.
Even when we have...
One of the few. There was only 7. 7! And we got the one bad one.
And we had 5 on our side.
Like Joker Game. I watched a couple episodes of that when it first came out. That was really good. And it's dubbed. I was excited to watch that. I'm like, fuck, let's get Joker Game. No, we get Jubei-chan, the Ninja Girl, Secret of the Lovely Eye Patch.
Well, on the bright side, when we get back to J, we won't have to do it.
Yep. That's the bright side, alright.
Yeah, like 26 weeks from now. Alright, guys, I guess that's it.
Have a good night, guys. Thank you.
Bye.